And we're live. Huh?
There we
Yeah.
go.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Choosing Us.
We're back and it's a good one. It's always a good one.
We like to say that these episodes are our favorite or they're good ones. And the reality is they are for the moment, for the time that we record it. Because the conversations that we have on these episodes are very much so the conversations that we have regularly. And whatever we speak about on these episodes are the things that we are indeed actually talking about in our conversations, which we do all the time. Somebody made it a point the other day. It's actually my business partner. Michaela and I are pretty much always touching. And and he goes, have you noticed how much you guys touch? Like, you are almost always touching. If you're within arm's reach of each other, you're probably touching. And I said, well, that's because it's her love language, physical touch. And I've kind of trained myself to just always have a hand on her. But it's a little bit more than that. It's more so just telling each other that we're there for each other, that we're present, that we're whole, that we're unified. But we do that in our communication as well. We try heavily to communicate about everything, and probably a little bit over in some aspects, but I would say compared to other people, but it's just right for us.
Well, and I think we've learned a lot and our communication has become even more as we've become parents, because we've learned that as our kids have gotten older and our kids are having their own experiences and becoming their own people, that our parenting styles are a little bit different, and communicating that to each other sometimes is hard.
Yeah, I would agree. And telling your spouse, this is how I want to do something, or this is how I think it should be done, and your spouse does not agree, that's a difficult conversation to have. And sometimes you don't know how to bring it up, but it's important to bring up. And it's not that one way's right or wrong. It's just the personality of one person versus the other. In our situation with our kids, Michaela is their safe space in every capacity of the word. So much so that they were gone. Our son was gone. Our 4-year-old, turning 5, was gone to grandma's house for several days. And when he came home, it was just meltdown after meltdown and waterworks after waterworks. And she says, I don't know why he's being like this. He wasn't like this before. And you made a comment, said, well, that's because I'm his safe space. And he feels comfortable letting all of his emotions now plummet out. And this is how they're being relayed.
Yeah, and I have done a lot of work on myself to be able to hold that space for them. And I know that we have had a lot of hard conversations on the different styles of parenting that we have. And I feel like it's good that we approach things differently. We're always communicating about specific things we're doing with the boys, but it's you have your way of talking to them and communicating with them, and then I have my way. But we're always on the same page. We may communicate it differently to them, but it's always whatever the conversation is, we make sure we are together and we communicate. And if we're not on certain conversations, on certain things with the boys, then we have those conversations immediately and kind of figure out where we're gonna go with that.
And how to navigate. I once heard in business, if both partners are good at the same thing, one is redundant and not necessary. You should find opposites, and that's where the whole opposites attract. You should find people that are better at things than you, and you are better at things than them. And in this case, parenting styles, it's so important to be unique and be yourself. So once upon a time, I was a Christian missionary, and I was talking to another missionary. He was trying to act like a missionary. Like he thought what a missionary should do, he was trying to do. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm trying to be a missionary. I said, why are you trying to be a missionary? Be yourself. God placed you at this point in time, in this place, to be you, to impact other people, not to be who you think you should be, to be you. You are a unique set of skills and a unique set of gifts. And that is the same way in your relationship. That is the same way with raising your kids. And doing the things that your kids wants to do is important. Playing with them in the way they want to play. And that will change with time. Yes, there are things I want to do with my sons that I'm not capable of doing yet. They're just not old enough. And we will have to wait, and that time will come. But here's the thing. If we don't do the things they want to do, when they want to do it, like play with their monster trucks, play with their Legos, play with whatever it might be, go to the pool, go to the amusement park, make these memories, make these experiences. If you don't show up for them when they're young, they won't show up for you when you're an adult or when they're an adult.
And I think this is really big that people don't understand as their kids are getting older, that they get into this age of being teenagers and it's not cool to hang out with mom and dad anymore, or they're not communicating with their parents the way that the parents would like them to. But a lot of that has to deal with how you raised them and how you showed up when they were young. Did you create a safe space when they were young to come to you? Did you teach them at a young age that you can come to me for anything and I'm not going to overreact? I want to be that space to where if you screwed up, if you broke something, come and tell me, and then we'll fix it. We'll fix the problem. But if your kids, when they're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, come to you and they're like, oh, I broke this thing, and your first instinct is to overreact or yell at them or tell them, great, awesome, all the things they did wrong, then they're not going to come to you again. They're not going to feel safe to come to you when they are in a bad spot. So then you go 6, 7 years down the road, your kids are teenagers. Well, guess what? Maybe they did something dumb. They screwed up, which pretty much all teenagers do, right? We all have that oh crap moment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel comfortable going to your parents and being like, I messed up? And knowing that your parents are going to be there to be like, all right, what do we got to do to fix this? But they will not come to you as a teenager unless you create that habit when they are kids of, all right, you screwed up, let's fix it. Don't overreact. Don't create a massive big deal out of it and shame them for messing up, because we all screw up. None of us are perfect. We spill a glass of milk. We, break things on the floor. You drop things. It happens. None of us are perfect. But creating that safe space for your kids when they're young and teaching them to come to you when they mess up will help for when they get older and become teenagers and they screw up, and they're not going to try and hide a speeding ticket from dad or, hide that they went to a party and all their friends are drinking. They're not going to hide that because they know you're going to be there to support them and take care of them and help them to resolve the problem instead of get mad at them and yell at them.
And it's important, as Michaela has said, that we're not perfect. One thing that we do try and point out, I'm not sure Michaela, I purposely, when I screw up, I try and point out that I screwed up. I try and show my sons, see, I screw up too. I messed up this. I did this. I did that. I broke this bowl. I've done that several times. I've broke this glass. Done that a few times. I dropped this and it was spilled everywhere. I'm trying to think what it was, but we were making something and it slipped out of my hands and just made a giant mess. And I called my sons over and showed them I messed up. And now I'm going to clean it up. One, responsibility. For when you screw up, you have some due diligence. You have to go clean up what you messed up, whatever it is. And yeah, sometimes we need some help, and sometimes we as parents will help our kids. But it's not that we fix it for them, we fix it with them. At their tender age, we have to kind of walk them through how to do that. As they slowly get older, we leave the responsibility to them. Our 5-year-old is responsible for cleaning and doing and correcting some things that he's messed up that are within his capacity. But helping them understand that we're not perfect, that we are learning just like they are, and that we are merely guides and leaders of the household, not perfect dictators. And that creates this type of relationship that, one, is a friend-based relationship, but also a parent-based, a leader-based. It's okay. I mean, I've been a leader in business in multiple companies. It's okay to be friends with the employees, but it's not okay to be only friends with the employees. There isn't a leader aspect. There is still a veil between the two, and helping understand that you've got to put your foot down when you have to put your foot down, and how important that really is.
Yeah. And it also goes back to what Brad had originally said about playing when they're kids. And I think that part of it is so important as well, that I mean, you get teenagers, they don't want to hang out with their parents. That's not cool. But I have actually seen numerous families that their teenagers love to hang out with their parents. Their parents are so cool. They're the house that all the kids go over to, and the kids are like, your parents are awesome. And they just love their parents, and they go do fun things with their parents, and they enjoy it. And we've had conversations with some of these parents to say, you know, what did you do to make it so your kids don't hate you when they're teenagers, when they actually want to be with you? And they said that when their kids were young, they do the things that their kids want to do. They actually play with their kids. They are present with their kids. They communicate with their kids. They're not using baby voice when they're little. They're not treating them like a baby. They have mutual respect. They communicate with their children, explain the situation to children. They're actually having communication like two humans, like two adults. They don't need to talk down to their kids. They have this respect for their kids that they're a person too, and they want to be heard a lot of the times, and actually listening to your kids. And when you play with your kids, it's not, oh, I'm exhausted after work, so I'm going to watch a movie, but I'm going to be with my kids, so we're going to watch a movie together. What if your kids want to go play? What if they want to go to the park? What if they want to play with Legos? Do what your kids want to do when they're little, and then they're actually going to want to play with you as they get older.
This thought popped in my head this morning, which is, what is my duty and role as a father? And my duty and role, amongst many things, is to be a leader, a guide, a protector, and provider. Nowhere in there does it say that I must do things for them on their behalf. I will lead and educate and teach how to become leaders themselves. I will guide. I will walk the path, show them the path that I've learned, because I've walked the path just as my father walked the path and my parents walked the path and showed me what they knew. We don't know everything, but we teach what we do know. We provide food, a roof, and all the necessities, and protect. That does not mean go fight the battles for them. The best analogy I ever heard was, you are not to fight the battles for them, but you are to provide them with the pillow for when they get punched. That life's still going to punch your kids really hard, but you are teaching them the skills and the tactics to absorb the punch and to learn from the punch and to, quote unquote, roll with the punch. And I mean, that's the best thing you could ever do, is to teach your kids to be adaptable. Those that are most flexible in life succeed the most. And we're teaching them flexibility. But we teach them while they're young, and we play with them while they're young, because that is teaching. You are playing on the ground with them, becoming like them, because what's the fastest way to teach anybody? To build rapport with them. And how do you build rapport with them? Do the things they want to do. Talk about the things they want to talk about. Talk about them. That is the easiest way. And for me, building rapport is quite simple. Some people find it greatly difficult. But the reality is you just talk about them and talk about the things they want to talk about and like the things they like and just become a little bit of a chameleon to what they like to do. And that's the same way with their kids. They won't necessarily, in almost all regards, not remember anything you teach them, but they'll remember the lessons by principle base and how you made them feel. And trying to create these core memories is so important because they have so few. I mean, think about the core memories you have. How many are there?
Not a lot.
A handful.
Yeah,
You can
handful.
count on two hands of fingers,
Yeah.
up to 10 core memories.
Yeah.
Unless your memory is jogged, and then you might be able to go remember some more things. But you have very few core memories. And if you're focused so hard, and we mentioned go to the amusement park, go to Lagoon this last weekend, we went as a family to Lagoon. Are we in the financial position where that was probably smart? No. We're starting 2 businesses right now. However, it's important to create these memories. And our sons have been asking for the better part of a year. And our 2.5-year-old's never been. His older brother's been. He's been twice since he's been alive. And we typically make it there once, maybe twice a year. And how much fun it was.
Yeah, it was a fun experience to just go play with them, and how much fun they had. They loved every second of it. We were there until 9 o'clock at night, and they didn't want to leave. It was a cool experience to be able to, like you said, it wasn't maybe the best financial decision in the moment, but we chose to go have an experience with our kids because life is short, and we wanted to go do something fun with them and have this experience. And no, we're not going and doing things like that every week. It's we create time to be with them and to be present and to create fun memories that we'll always remember.
You're never guaranteed another moment. I've had a friend, a business partner, a mentor suddenly pass away walking to his car at 52 years old from a pulmonary embolism. Pulmonary embolisms and heart attacks and strokes, things caused by blood clots, are happening more and more and more due to various reasons we won't talk about. And we've had friends that recently, just 7 weeks ago today, as of the recording of this episode, suddenly passed away at 13 years old by himself in the backyard in the pool. And we are not promised another moment. So if you're saying, oh, we'll do it tomorrow, tomorrow is not promised. It may never come. And if you're always pushing off things for tomorrow, how many experiences and memories for all parties could be missed out on?
And they don't have to be expensive. They don't have to cost a ton of money. You can take your kids on a hike. Go have a picnic up in the mountains or at the park. You can, go have a water fight. Get one of those little cheap splash pads. There's so many cheap things that it doesn't cost a lot of money to create memories with your kids. We went to the sand dunes in southern Utah. We had fun playing in the sand with our kids. We find ways on a regular basis to show our kids how much we love them and how much we love being as a family, and we love playing with them and being present with them and doing things that they enjoyed to do, because the idea and the hope is that we'll continue doing that throughout our entire lives, and that our kids will be teenagers who enjoy going and doing fun things with their parents because we made the time now. Tomorrow isn't promised, like you said. And focusing on today and the things you can do today to help your partner and your kids feel your presence, feel your love, and know that you care.
It's important. So have this conversation with your partner. Talk to them about it. Have them listen to this episode. Share this episode with your friends and your family. It's so important to show up every moment of every day for each other, for your kids. And yeah, most of these podcast episodes are based around your relationship with your spouse, but your relationship with your kids are very much so important too. I wouldn't say just as important. I would say the relationship with your spouse is more important. But you can't forget them either because they're also part of our family and they make us whole. So share this. You can find me on socials, Mr. Brad Draper.
And choosing us.
Like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. We love you guys. Bye.